So many of you know that I write poetry. And a couple of years ago, I started experimenting with some open mic nights and maybe even just recording some videos like this on my own and sharing them out publicly. I can't say that that's either one of those things or anything that I feel like I need to prioritize. I have a lot of creative pursuits that I like to experiment with, and at the time, those were things that challenged me. However, poetry is something for a long time that I dismissed and maybe even discredited about myself, partially because I felt like I wasn't good at, which is ironic because it's completely irrelevant to the whole use of poetry in my life. I have since accepted that though, and I embrace poetry because I feel like it is definitely a spiritual practice and maybe even discipline for me. It is a way that I have learned to understand myself, maybe communicate with God and what he wants me to know about me and the way that I experience the world. And anyway, it's been a hot minute since I've shared a video or a poem. And if you know anything about me, you know that I like to share, I'm a pretty happy person, I think. So I like to share positive thoughts and good vibes, and I want to inspire people, and I want to help people cultivate their faith or even consider their uniqueness so they can embrace it or pursue some good in the world. And so I feel like I need to disclose that this poem that I'm going to share is for Mental Health Awareness Month. And so it could be triggering for you, but it could just also be uncomfortable with the imagery that I'm going to use in it. But I've been kicking around the idea of sharing this poem for Mental Health Awareness Month, and then it just so happens that I wind up on a work conference out here in the lovely city of Salt Lake City, Utah, with this lovely backdrop. And some quiet time in a hotel and a slower pace, and the thought struck me again, and it's still May, so I was like, hey, let's just do it. And you must forgive me because I did not have time or capacity to even try and memorize it. I'll read it, it'll be distracting because you'll see it here on the screen. But I want to share it because, stress is a thing that we all have. We all have. I don't think that there is any one person on this planet that does not have stress. And also, we are amazing beings. We are so strong and can handle so much, sometimes not even knowing how to handle things. We just handle it, right? We just do it. And I think it is very easy to dismiss the severity of something because, for one, we may not have the skills to recognize or decipher that, but also because I think that we keep waiting for something more severe to happen to help us recognize when it's time or when something needs to get our attention. All the while, God made these brilliant and unique bodies that we have that communicate with us in so many ways. Like, if you're under a certain amount of stress, your physical body might manifest that or show that to you by hives or eczema or certain types of rashes. Or perhaps you could be clenching your teeth and maybe you have jaw pain from grinding. Or you might get migraines or insomnia or anxiety and panic attacks. Like, those are very physical things that happen in your body, often as a result of stress or a mental health thing or something that's going on, right? And another sense that we could have is maybe intuition, which could be like some nudges that may or may not make sense, but they're just these thoughts and feelings that we have, and we don't always recognize where they come from or what they mean. And another one is dreams. So I'm not a dreamer, and when I do dream, they are usually weird, so they catch my attention. And a couple of years ago, I had a dream, and it got my attention because I don't do it. It got my attention because it's darker than I don't typically dream dark things. If I do, they're just weird. It was darker, but it also was almost like it was begging me to pay attention to it. And so this poem is really just that when I woke up in the morning, I had to make sense of it, I think. And so I wrote down every detail that I could remember of the dream and then put them in an order. And in doing so, at the end, I felt like I had a revelation about it, right? And it helped me see something. And so in this dream, I am myself, I'm in the dream, and I walk into this garden, and the garden doesn't matter. I've never been in this garden. I don't know whose garden it is, but I walk into this garden, and It scares me and catches me by surprise, but the scene unfolds before me and it's complete chaos and happens very quickly. And I am terrified and I don't know that enthralled is the right word, but I'm entranced. And I like feel all the things. I want to help, I want to run, I want to like, but it's just this crazy scene. And so when I wake up, like I said, I feel like I just have to capture every single detail of it so it can tell me, not because I don't want to forget, because I feel like it needs to tell me something. And my point in sharing that with you right now in Mental Health Awareness Month is that maybe let's not ask ourselves about depression or anger or sadness or stress, because some of us have lived in a stressful environment or conditions for a very long time or have always lived that way and might not realize that there's this other way, right? And so maybe just a different mental health conversation is trying to capture the other things that are so easy to dismiss because something, a physical representation or manifestation in your body or intuition or a dream is so easy to dismiss in all of the hustle and bustle of the world and the things that we have to do. And my point in sharing this is that I hope that for someone else who may not see that they're struggling, who may not see that they maybe need help, maybe something I say in this will help them consider what's happening in their other details, or even consider taking the time to just capture details to see if it can bring them some clarity too. And with that, I'm going to log in to my computer and share the garden. I wandered into the garden that night, a place I'd never been, unaware of how I got there. It wasn't long before the rustling began. I wanted to help, I wanted to run, there was nowhere to hide, and just when I knew I couldn't escape, you somehow slipped right past me. I couldn't see what you were holding. There were no weapons, your back turned and then your arms. A fawn escaped your grasp and made it beyond the fence. And she was so young and unsure of where to go. She darted back around. You caught her. I was hypnotized by details that didn't make sense. I was the observer trying to find my part, unable to pull myself from this story. But it was yours, your struggle. You needed to make the kill. It wasn't anger or sadness or amends or hunger or life or death or even about her. Like the root in your belly grew into a vine that left your limbs needing more, reaching and entangling. And she so willingly stood there. Maybe paralyzed by fear, I never understood. But that look in her eyes, I won't forget. Watching them go black as she succumbed. Not the typical death, but under a spell. You cut her hind legs, to be sure. And the thought flashed. You couldn't even slit her throat right or kill her peacefully. And it was then that it hit me. This is about possession. You never even saw